It's 1983. In the small town of Hawkins, Indiana, the Hawkins National Laboratory is secretly working on paranormal phenomena to beat the Russians in the Cold War. When a young psychic is tasked to enter a shadow realm to spy on some Soviets, she inadvertently makes contact with a parallel dimension.
This is some spooky shit we got here.
This dimension is inhabited by a vicious monster who now found a gateway into our regular dimension and quickly starts rampaging. The monster then starts preying on a second victim, Will Byers, a local 12-year-old who inadvertently flees into the parallel dimension but manages to hide from the monster. Back in our reality, however, Will disappears without a trace after playing D&D with his nerd friends Mike, Lucas and Dustin. His disappearance kicks off a town-wide search involving single mom Joyce, brother Jonathan, Will's nerd friends, as well as the local police department led by the washed-up police chief Hopper. Meanwhile, the young girl who opened the parallel dimension escapes the lab and ends up in Mike's basement. The nerd crew names her 11 after the tattoo on her wrist. 11 has little vocabulary but is pretty adept in telekinesis.
No.
She anxiously signals the nerds to hide her, as the baddies from the lab are on her tail. She also lets them know that Will is in a parallel dimension, which the crew names the Upside Down. She then conveys that a blood-starved beast is after him, which they identify as the Demogorgon. And after having witnessed 11's psychic abilities, the crew is committed to rescuing Will from the Hell Dimension. The secret lab people, meanwhile, are very much concerned and want their science project back and have no qualms about eliminating bystanders in the process. The leader of the lab is Martin Brenner, a cunning manipulator whom his test subjects refer to as Papa. As the police search remains unsuccessful, Joyce starts seeing interdimensional signals from Will. She immediately is in 100%, pauses her job and develops an electrical Ouija board to communicate with him.
R-E, right here.
Will, however, is constantly on the run from the monster and can only leave short messages. Needless to say that the townsfolk think that Joyce has completely lost it, including her older son Jonathan.
That's not his body because he's in the lights, right? And there's a monster in the wall. Do you even hear yourself?
Just a little later, the next teen goes missing. Attracted by blood, the Demogorgon drags Barbara, the high school nerd, into the Upside Down. Meanwhile, her best friend Nancy, sister to Mike, has a sleepover with her almost boyfriend Steve after a spontaneous pool party. Somehow, hobby photographer Jonathan is also at the scene, investigating his brother's disappearance.
What a creep.
After Barb is found missing, Nancy wants to investigate her vanishing and stumbles upon Jonathan's photos which outline the monster. She then finds a companion in Jonathan, and the two are determined in getting to the bottom of things.
That's it. That's what I saw.
After snooping around in the woods near the crime scene, Nancy discovers a portal into the Upside Down, and after getting lost for a bit, she has a close encounter with the monster. The two now turn into proper monster hunters, planning to lure out the beast to eventually kill it. At the same time, Police Chief Hopper digs into the lab's shady activities and learns about Brenner's involvement in MK Ultra, the infamous CIA project on finding a true serum. During his investigation, Hopper also learns of a mentally unstable woman claiming that Brenner once took her child. Following some more clues, including a fake corpse of Will that was planted in the local quarry, Hopper breaks into the lab but is detected and subsequently drugged.
A few minutes later.
Nancy and Jonathan tell Joyce and Hopper about the Demogorgon after getting busted with their Monster Hunter gear. After exchanging knowledge of the monster, they pretty much piece it all together. They all know now that the lab was doing dimension-breaking research, Will is trapped in the Upside Down, and 11 is an escaped research project. The baddies are still after 11, turning the kids into fugitives, but 11 pretty much controls the situation. After Eleven is able to faintly channel Will through a walkie-talkie and later a ham radio, the entire cast then create a makeshift floating tank to make a proper connection. Eleven then walks the Shadow Realm and finds dead Barb, as well as Will in his forest hiding place. The crew then learns that the Demogorgon is switching dimensions via a portal and that the main gate is located in the basement of the lab. Now a plan is forming. Nancy and Jonathan plan to lure the Demogorgon into a fiery ambush, while Joyce and Hopper break into the lab to retrieve Will from the Upside Down. When Nancy and Jonathan spill some blood to lure out the Demogorgon, Steve unexpectedly arrives and the trio fight the creature with all they got. Inside the lab, the duo is busted and after a short confrontation with Brenner, agrees to give up Eleven's location in exchange for being allowed to go into the Upside Down. However, when the agents are trying to retrieve Eleven, she kills most of them. And shortly after, the Demogorgon appears, attracted by all the blood.
Blood? Blood. Crimson, copper-smelling blood. His blood. Blood. Blood.
In a final showdown, Eleven blasts the Demogorgon into pieces, giving it her everything. Meanwhile, Joyce and Hopper are able to drag the barely alive Will back into our reality. A few weeks later, Will is his old self again, having recovered from his time abroad. But in a final scene, he coughs up an embryonic Demogorgon and has a vivid flashback of the Upside Down. As this is a new channel, I would immensely appreciate your upvote and subscription. In any case, thanks for watching and see you next time.